Hello everybody and welcome to the first video in a new series I'm calling the Toolbox, because I'm Spanner. You get it? The idea of this series is just to sort of talk about maybe review feature technology stuff, the hardware that you can buy, software tools, things like that. And I thought today we would kick it off just by showing you my office and all the gear that I have. Because it's a question that everyone quite often has, I think, is like, what do you run? What does your workspace look like? How do you do what you do? And normally it's quite surprising, at least for me, when I see stuff like this. I get quite surprised. This series is, like I say, going to kick off right now with this overview, and then I think in future videos we'll just take sort of individual bits of kit and talk about it. What's good about it? What's bad about it? Would I recommend it? I think most of the stuff I have I would recommend, because I spend a lot of time researching stuff. I'm the kind of guy that, I have to go buy a kettle. I spend like a week researching kettles and I get the best kettle, which isn't the most efficient use of time, but I generally get good stuff with a few misfires. I'm hoping at some point in the future we'll be able to start addressing specific questions from you all, which could be like, do I buy A or B? And we can dive into that, or maybe you've got a specific problem that you need to solve, and we can share the solution. It might be quite a common one, particularly if you're running Cyberpunk 2077 at the moment. And yeah, maybe way down the line we can actually do some proper product reviews. Now I obviously don't intend to go out and buy a shed load of stuff to just review. So to start with, I'll just review things that I buy for me. But hey, if you want to send me something, I'll be quite happy to review it. So I'm going to set up a camera, because obviously I can't do this with the webcam. So yeah, I'll do that. I'll show you what I've got. Don't judge me too harshly, please. Yeah, we'll take it from there. So I'll catch you in a sec. Okay, so this is my desk, my workspace. It's not always this tidy, but I'm trying to keep it this way. So I figure I will just sort of go through probably from left to right, tell you what everything is. The furthest thing on the left is actually not in shot. It's probably the most important thing in a home office, which is the chair. Notice that I don't have a gaming chair. This is a Herman Miller Embody. It's the most expensive thing I ever bought at the time, I think, but well worth it. We'll get into that another day. What's next on the left, also out of shot actually, is up here. So that's my link box for the HTC Vive virtual reality headset that I've got, and a light box. The link box is up there because I trail the cable across the ceiling and have it come down from a mount up there to make it feel a bit more like a sort of a wireless headset. Just a bit nicer than having the cable trailing on the floor. What next? So left to right. We've got two pairs of headphones there. They are Sennheiser HD558s, which I've modded to sound like 598s. They're plugged into a Focusrite Scarlett 6i6 USB audio interface. That has that black thing plugged into it, which is a solid state amplifier for the speakers. The speakers are Wharfedale, which is a British brand, Diamondback speakers. They sound quite nice actually. They normally have the grills on. I might have taken them off to look sexier for this video. So below that is the computer. It's an i9 9900K. It's got 32 gigabytes DDR4. I've not overclocked any of it because I haven't had to. It's got a GTX 1080 graphics card. The microphone is an Audio-Technica AT2035. It's on a RØDE mic stand. What else we got? I guess maybe let's do monitors next, perhaps. So there are actually 4 monitors, although one of them's hidden behind the one on the left. The monitor at the back there is just like a TV. It's like an LG TV that I inherited, that I sometimes use if we're streaming, like all of us together. The left-hand monitor that you can see is just a bog standard 60Hz 1080p monitor. It's like a Samsung SA300. The monitor in the middle is my gaming monitor, so that's 144Hz, again 1080p. It is a BenQ XL2430T, I think. And the monitor on the right is like my color calibrated monitor. It's a BenQ XL2430, which, you know, I can't remember how much of the Adobe RGB range it covers, but it's basically all of it as far as I can remember. And I use that for design work that involves printing stuff. They're all mounted on gas spring mounts. So yeah, I can move the monitors up and down. So at the moment, the monitor on the left and right are obviously up high. That's because I've been using the speakers and getting the joysticks in and out quite a lot. But if I'm not using the joysticks or the speakers, I just want to be a bit more productive, I can put them all in a line, which is less triggering for some people. And that's obviously how I would use the fourth monitor as well. Okay, so that's the screens. We said left to right, so that's furthest left. Throttle, I guess. So all of this throttle, pedals down the bottom there, and joystick on the right, they're all Thrustmaster. The joystick is a T16000M. The throttle is part of the Thrustmaster FCS product range, I think, flight control system, which came with the pedals as well. Next up, we've got a Novation Launch Key Mini. No, sorry, a Launchpad Mini. So this is a MIDI controller, which you would normally use for like a music production program to record loops and play stuff back, or maybe drumming, that kind of thing. But in my case, I'm actually using it as a 64-button controller for DCS. So we'll talk about that at some point. That's quite an interesting little project. What's next? Keyboard. It's a Philco mechanical keyboard, cherry brown switches, and the Philco wrist rest as well. Up here we've got that little thing on the left is the Track IR receiver, and the thing on the right is the Logitech 4K Brio webcam, which is, I think, 4K 60 frames per second. Right, next we have mouse mat. So that's SteelSeries QTK Plus, and a lens cap, which we can ignore. Mouse, I use a Zowie EC1A, I think it is. And that's it. Mouse bungee, yeah, nothing special there. We've got just a footrest for when I'm sitting at my desk. Got an anti-fatigue mat there, which is for when I'm standing at my desk, because the desk itself, these legs, you might notice it doesn't really look like a proper desk because there's like this mechanical leg with two box aluminium pieces that I've bolted on. Well, yeah, I made this desk myself. So the legs are Linac actuators with a Linac control system, and that just means they can go up and down. They're just linear actuators, and I just had to build feet to put them on and to put the desk on. So that's that. The whole of the underside of the desk is, it's got like a sheet of steel, galvanized steel underneath that I've earthed to reduce noise and interference on any of the audio cables. And that's about it, I think. All the walls are acoustically treated to some degree. That's just because this room is essentially a rectangle. So I get quite a lot of reflections. The desk itself is obviously a little alcove, but the rest of the room is just a rectangle. So yeah, putting these on the walls just dampens the reflections down a lot, so it doesn't sound anywhere near as reverberant. Normally, of course, you'd have other furniture in the room, and that gets rid of those, but because this is my virtual reality space as well, I can't really fill the area with anything without having to move it all out of the room when I want to do VR, so that's no good. So yeah, so that acoustic treatment is, you know, on all of these walls. I've got big thick curtains in front of the window, so that's all fine, and that goes across the back wall. That's obviously the way in over there. Just some storage cupboards for tech stuff. Oh, that's a Novation Launch Key 25, which is like a small keyboard, again for like making music. But it could also be used for DCS, I suppose. I've not tried that, but could do it. And then that's the HTC Vive in there. This is my latest purchase, which I will probably do a video on first, which is a ProTube VR MagTube. That's right. It's like a rifle stock, so you can shoot guns better in virtual reality. That is nothing to do with computers, so that's my Fender Telecaster. Yes, it's very beautiful. That is just, it used to be a PV amplifier, now it's just a cabinet. I've ripped the speakers out, there's no amplifiers in there anymore. That top bit's just a drawer. I've got a pedal board down there, and I think I've got an orange amp in the cupboard down there as well. So that is pretty much the office. and this is where I spend more hours than I would care to say, working or playing. Okay, well that was my office setup. I hope you found it interesting. I tend to find stuff like that interesting because it's a view you tend not to see very often, you know, and I'm always looking out for ideas as well. So I hope you got something from it. If you've got any comments or questions, please do leave them below, and I'll respond as best I can. Similarly, if you want to see a specific video on anything, let me know, and I'll definitely consider it and probably do it. For now though, I'll just say Happy New Year, and I'll catch you in the next one. So bye bye for now.